guys, welcome to this little breakdown of this hand tracking synth thing I've been working on. My name's Luke, and I'm just going to be talking about how I made this and how it all works. But before we get into that, I just want to give a huge thanks to anybody who's posted videos on this subject. It's been a great help in making this and just having fun in this program. So if any of this seems interesting to you, definitely go check out any of the videos linked in the description. Anything I use is going to be down there, so go check all that out. They definitely explain it much better than I do. So yeah, let's get into it. So this project uses two main tools, MediaPipe and tdAbleton. MediaPipe is going to be the first link in the description. Torn Blankensmith has a great series explaining how to use all of that. And even this second hand tracking thing we're using is a thing from him, so definitely go check that out if you want to do anything like this. He makes it super easy. And this is all super easy to set up. There's a bunch of different things you can do in here, like detect your face, different landmarks on your face, but we're just concerned with the hands right now. And so the second node here is the hand tracking container that he makes. And this basically just has, you can grab the normalized data, or he has like custom gestures in here. You can customize any of these videos coming out. As you can see, these are the tips of my fingers and my wrists. And yeah, he walks you through how to customize all that. So the other tool we're using is tdAbleton, and that's just right here in TouchDesigner. So the second video in the description is going to be a setup video and just kind of like a how to use it video. So definitely go check that out if you're interested. Very easy to set up. This is what my Ableton's looking like. So here's the synth we're using. And I just got the tda MIDI track. Again, it's really easy to set up. Just put this on your master. Yeah, he walks you through it, how to get it all going and everything. So go check that out. But so let's start with hand one. So hand one is gonna be like the chords that you're playing basically. And I'm just gonna open up a little window here so you guys can see what I'm doing while I'm talking about it. So hopefully that's big enough. So yeah, hand one is just like identifying which chord to play. As you can see, that's this hand right here. Just cycling through 5 chords in C major. And so the logic behind this is basically we're just grabbing the normalized data and I'm subtracting, here I'll zoom into this. So we're just grabbing the normalized data like I said, and as you can see in here, gives you all your different thumb tip, wrist, all that for each hand. And if we go into these containers, yeah, we just got an in and a math. In the math, we're specifying the finger that we're doing the math on. So the one chord is just our index finger. So we basically just want it to be 0 is our finger down and 1 is our finger all the way up. So I totally forgot to mention this, but in this math, all we're basically doing is just selecting the tip of our finger and the lower knuckle, like the lowest knuckle where it meets your palm basically, and subtracting the Y value of the tip from that knuckle. So if we move our hand up and down, the value doesn't change. It's only the tip relative to the knuckle. So I just kind of played around with the range in here until I achieved like a nice solid, that type of thing. And then we're limiting it from 0 to 1, so it's not going to go outside of 0 to 1. The tip of your finger goes below your little knuckle there, so that's below 0. You don't want that. And then we're just sending it out. And we're basically just doing that for every single finger in here. So if I go ahead and cycle through these, just adding 1. Pretty simple. Next, we're going to a math where we're just combining these. So it's just adding up to 5. Alright. And then we basically need a way to say, okay, if it's 1, play the 1 chord. If it's 2, play the 2 chord, all the way up to 5, right? So we're using a logic chop, and we're saying off. So turn off when you're outside the bounds of about 1. There's a little wiggle room here for like if you're further away or if you got smaller hands or something. So this is basically just saying if the value's about 1, turn this specific logic on. So as you can see here, it's just turning on the channel that's specific to what number we're holding up. And then from there we're going to a null just so we can send the data out cleanly. And then this is where the tdAbleton MIDI comes in, and this might look confusing, but it's really not. Basically, we're just saying when we turn this logic off to on, so when it turns on, we're sending MIDI note 48, which this is a C, at velocity 100. So we basically just have every note in our one chord right here, and we'll get into why there's 2 different MIDIs in a second, but we're sending them all out at velocity 100 and then on to off, so when it turns off we're sending them at velocity 0, so there's nothing playing. And again, in the tdAbleton video that's in the description, he breaks this down way better, so definitely go check that out. And you can actually see, here's our MIDI going out, all our different notes. And yeah, so from there, we're almost done with the first hand. We're just sending these channels. It's a little dirty, you know. They're all named just this index finger, so I'm sending it to a rename just to rename it to that chord. And then just sending it to a merge. And this is for our video later, so we can identify, as you can see, which chord is playing. For your thumb goes out and not up, so you have to use the X position and kind of play around with those range values some more. But if I were to change this, I think I would have that maybe be some absolute value, because if you used your left hand for the chords, everything was fine because it goes out into the positive values. But if your right hand controls the chord, when you stick your thumb out, it goes into the negative values. So by using an absolute value, you would just have this value always be positive and you wouldn't have to worry about going into the negative. So that's basically hand 1, not too bad, but we're gonna get into hand 2 now. This one's about the same, honestly. For this first part, we're doing the same exact thing where we're just identifying 1 through 5, like if our finger's up or not. So that this part is exactly the same. It's the second part that's a little different because we want the effects to be toggleable. We don't want to have to hold our finger up and keep the effect on. As you can see, I can kind of toggle it on and off, so that way we can have multiple effects going at the same time, and it's a little less hard to just a little less awkward just holding your fingers up, you know. So to do that, all we're doing is from this logic, we're basically looping between 0 and 1 on this count. So that way 0 is off, 1 is on. And it just kind of gives us that on and off switch, I guess you could say. And then we're going to another logic and just saying whenever it's 1, turn on. And then just to a null. And we're doing that for every single finger. Yeah. And then from there, we're going to each effect that we're using. So our first effect here is going to be the arpeggiator. Now, if you remember earlier, I said we're sending out 2 channels of MIDI. The arpeggiator, if you heard, was just, I'm going to unmute this and show you. It's just like on top of the original chords that are playing. So all I'm doing is I'm just sending it to a different channel and mapping this, the track activator, I think is what it's called. So that's basically just muting and unmuting that channel to turn the arpeggiator on and off. So that one's pretty simple, and we just have this 0 to 1 mapped to the value send. So unmute this. 0 is off, 1 is on. And that's kind of the the value we're sending to each of these is just the value from this, like 0 to 1. But I'll break it down as we kind of go through them. So the second one was the filter. As you see, we got a few more nodes here to control. So for this one, I'm basically just turning on and off the filter with this parameter, and then with the second one, I'm controlling the frequency with my middle finger. And this math is basically the exact same as we were doing, just from our middle point to the left. So the filter kind of opens up as we bring our hand out. And we're applying that to both the chords and the arpeggiator, just so it's kind of cohesive, you know. So to show you that. So it's going to and then next effect is just going to be a phaser across both the arpeggiator and the chords. Pretty simple. Again, just sending this value over here to that. The next one was the arpeggiator delay, which, yeah, it's just on the arpeggiator track. We're just basically turning on this delay and this reverb, and then we're using our wrist position, which again is just the same math as that middle finger we used earlier, which is the same math as literally everything in this project. But you just got to play with these values and make sure you select your correct thing here. With this one, I will say, if the reverb goes to 100, it basically just, you can't even hear the arpeggiator anymore. So I only wanted it to go to about 40%. So for our limit, I put this at 0.4, so it only goes to that 40%. So that's kind of important if you want to kind of clamp that down. And then our final effect is this like detune chorus thing, and this is actually like a RC20 remake. That's also linked in the description. Go check that out. It's great. I use it all the time. So I can show you that, and that's basically just this, and we're just muting and unmuting this track. So yeah, that's about all the actual hand tracking stuff. Yeah, we're just sending that null out to this again, and this is going to be used to for the display later. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of get into the video portion now, how I'm doing all the rendering and stuff. So basically we're just grabbing the video from MediaPipe, which is basically just my webcam because I got the overlays turned off, and we're putting the data from the hand tracking node over that so it shows all the points. And in the second video in his tutorial, he breaks down how you can specify which points specifically to show, and I don't remember exactly how to do it, but you can kind of see it here. We're just selecting, these are the specific points. You just got to find the number at which point you want is, and this is for both of our hands. And you go into here, and I just changed this color. It was white. I put it as the same color as the blue border down here. So yeah, we're sending that data over our webcam data, so we get all the points there. Pretty nice. And we're just grabbing another instance of all the hand points data that we're going to use for where to display the chord names. So if you remember, we had these two merges with both of our hand data being the chords and the current effect. Both of those and all of our picture data are going into a base, and in here, so first of all, we'll talk about how I did the chord name. So this is just the basic like midpoint formula for the wrist point here, and the thumb. I don't know why it's so close to our thumb, but yeah, it should be in the middle there. And we're doing the midpoint formula for the X and the Y, and we're just taking these values out and mapping them to the X and the Y of the text for the chord names. So that's pretty simple. So for the chord names, here's our chord data. As you can see coming in, we got our, depending on how many fingers we hold up. For the actual names, we're using another chop execute, and we're using on value change. We're basically just saying if the value is 1, we're setting that geotext parameter text to the channel name that is currently 1. So yeah, that works nicely. And you can kind of see it updating over here if I select this. Oh, it's at the bottom, hold up. Just kidding, you can't really see that updating. But yeah, it does work. You can see it here. Nice. And then for all the effects, so for the little box, we're just basically using lines and a box, as you can see here, just basically rendering stuff. Little transparency on the box, and then we're just doing a render and putting that over our webcam video. This info chop is just supplying this render with the resolution of our video, so that syncs everything up cleanly. And then for these texts, the on and off, here's our data coming in, which is just specifying which effect is currently on or off. And we're using a select right here. We just got it renamed to the effect nicely. So for these, I'm pretty sure we're doing the same thing. Yeah, on value change. If the value is 1, we're setting the text to be on and coloring it green. Else, if it's 0, we're setting the text to be off and setting it to be red. So I'm doing this for all the channels, the exact same thing, and we just have them mapped to their respective like text over here. As you can see, there's our ARP, all that fun stuff. Yeah, phaser. So yeah, that's basically how all the text works, and that's basically everything. As you can see, updates nicely. To show you that, this one more time if you want to see it. It's kind of quick, but yeah, just setting the text, parameter text to be on or off depending on what we want, and changing the color. But yeah, that's basically it. If you want this file, just hit me up, Instagram or email or whatever. I'll send it to you. That's all in the description if you want it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks.